With peace on earth the hope of the day, President Obama spoke by phone with 10 military service members this holiday weekend, while a U.S. chaplain conducted a Christmas service in Afghanistan. Russ Mitchell caught up with an Army chaplain just back from the war, who described the challenges and burdens of his job.
Well, I'm the new guy here, so it's awe-inspiring still.
Just a few weeks ago, Captain Jason Hohnberger was on the battlefields of Afghanistan.
The Holy One in heaven.
He's now one of 7 Army chaplains working at Arlington National Cemetery.
What do you say to a family who comes here to bury a loved one who served this country?
Well, I say that we're grateful. I also tell them that my heart breaks for them. There's something unique and interesting about sharing that uniform, because simultaneously that mother is your mother, that wife is your wife.
A father of 3, it took Hohnberger 9 years to make it from a private in the Army to an ordained chaplain. He says it all began when a chaplain lent him his guitar to play in church and said God was calling him to become a chaplain.
Tell me what your life is like there. You're
Sure.
on the battlefield, but you're not in the heart of battle, right?
Right. My fight is for the hearts of the American soldier, to make sure that they're filled with peace and not affected by terror. I'm armed often with a guitar that I carry with me just about everywhere I go. And you'll be amazed at how many guitar players are out there, and just love the fact that you can hand off a well-made guitar to them that they can play.
But not a gun, a guitar.
Yeah, just a guitar.
The Army has nearly 3,000 chaplains, representing 130 different religious groups.
How would you describe life for an Army chaplain in a war zone?
I get the opportunity to wake up every morning with my heroes. I've trained with them and jump out of airplanes with them. And to be able to go into a combat zone is the greatest privilege and the greatest honor. But as the chaplain, you know you're going to get that phone call if something goes wrong.
Can you tell me a story where someone has come to you in battlefield, in a war zone, and has had concerns?
I've had hundreds of conversations of guys just trying to figure out how to I'd be a really good soldier, but how do I be a really good dad and a really good husband when I'm on the other side of the world? How do I live with myself after having to do some terrible things and being forced by the enemy to do terrible things?
We're in the holiday season. Chaplain, what do you think? Can there really be peace on earth?
I find it really interesting that we celebrate peace at this time during Christmas, and yet that first Christmas was anything but peaceful. There is this awful tragedy where Herod orders the execution of babies about the age of Jesus. And so Jesus has to become a refugee and flee in the midst of all of this, and yet in the darkest time of that region, when people are mourning the loss of their children, the hope of the world was right there.
Thousands of servicemen and women will soon be coming home.
Yes.
Facing an uncertain job market, a shaky economy. Have you had conversations with soldiers about what it's going to be like to come home? And what are they saying to you?
Too often, when people talk about the challenges or the traumatic stress that soldiers go through, I'm afraid that this message that soldiers are ruined comes across. Well, that's not the case. There's challenges that we have, but these soldiers are more robust and more resilient than you would ever imagine.
What's the hardest part of your job, being in a war zone, as a man of faith, as an Army chaplain?
Hardest part about my job is burying guys that you love.
The Army says dozens of chaplains have been wounded in warfare, but since Vietnam, only 1 has been killed in action. Russ Mitchell, CBS News, Arlington, Virginia.